So Royale High will be removing multipliers as part of their new game plan for how they're going to fix the economy, and I certainly don't agree with everything that was mentioned in this official statement. So today we're going to talk about it, as well as just some general thoughts about stuff that they're going to be adding and removing from Royale High. Now I want to be clear, although my criticism may be negative at times, it does not mean I'm trying to be hateful. Constructive criticism is really important, and delivery is certainly what matters most. So please keep in mind that, of course, players are entitled to share their opinions, especially when this directly impacts me and players like you. So, with that in mind, I do also apologize for my voice. I am so sick. My throat hurts so bad. It is very difficult to talk, but regardless, let's get into it. So, the Royale High Valks posted this announcement this morning, which reads, "Hello students, we have an announcement. We've loved seeing how much joy our recent 2x XP weekend brought to the community, especially how fun it felt when everyone was earning more together. Because of that, we're taking a step towards a more balanced and exciting future for all players by increasing diamond earnings from leveling up for everyone. In addition to this change, diamond rewards will once again burst when you level up, just like the good old days," which, side note, I don't feel like there's ever an official announcement about this, and maybe I'm wrong, please correct me in the comment section if I am, but they just kind of quietly removed the diamond rewards for leveling up, which personally I just didn't really like. I felt like it was kind of giving money grabby. It was like, why can I not get diamonds for leveling up? That is, of course, just my opinion. However, I am really happy to hear that they are bringing it back, because I definitely think that's something that is needed in the game with how difficult farming has become. Now, with that in mind, they go on to say, we'll also be increasing the amount of diamonds received when purchasing them with Robux, making diamond purchases more rewarding as well. Which, side note, I was going to make a whole video about this, but I guess they already addressed it, so I probably won't. But when I was trying to figure out yesterday how I could get my dream item, the Valkyrie wings, which, by the way, I ended up getting them, I was like, how can I do this? And so I actually went to Walmart, and they sell up like so many of the Royale High dolls at this one Walmart where I live, but none at the other Walmarts, which is kind of bizarre, but I went to Walmart, I got an Avrilla doll, I got a Mermia doll, and I got a Posy doll. They didn't have the Chrome doll, it was all sold out, but I bought each of those dolls, and then I just went to Tradery and traded them for diamonds or for other items. I traded one of them for like the school bus set, which, to be fair, I did take massive underpays for some of the trades that I did, but it's because there were so many people falsely inflating the prices or the values of these toy sets, and I don't want to contribute to that. I just don't. So I did give away some of these sets for like 200,000 less than they were worth, just to random people, just because I just wanted diamonds so that I could purchase the wings, and I didn't really care about the total value. And so I went and did that yesterday, but I was talking to my fiance. I'm like, it's kind of weird that I can buy a $25 doll and it's worth 720,000-ish diamonds, but then if I spend $80 on Robux more now because the Robux conversion rates, I only get 260,000 or something like that. So the conversion was very bizarre, and I was going to talk about that in a video because I made so much more diamonds by just purchasing the dolls and then selling them for diamonds through Royale High, like the trading feature. But regardless, I definitely do think it's good they're going to be adjusting the Robux amounts for diamonds, and I'm curious to see what that conversion is going to be. Now, they go on to say, to support a healthier, more balanced economy long term, we'll be retiring the 2x and 4x diamond multiplier game passes. We know this is a meaningful change for players who own them, and it was not a decision we came to lightly. Your support has meant so much to us, and we want to show our appreciation, so we're offering the following special perks. 1. An exclusive in-game reward for 2x and 4x owners. 2 unique and very beautiful items, 1 per game pass. 3, a special thank you badge, and 4, a diamond reward level valued higher than the original Robux cost, which they go on to say, which I was going to talk about, I'll give it a second, but they say here, monthly diamond multiplier subscriptions are not affected and nothing is changing immediately. We'll be waiting one month before these updates go live so current subscriptions can finish naturally. Which, side note, I think this was like a point where a lot of people misunderstood, which, to be fair, I feel like this section was poorly worded because it comes across like the diamond multiplier subscription passes where you pay like USD per month to get double diamonds or whatever. This, when I read it initially, I thought those aren't affected because that's how it's worded. It's very, I would say this is a little bit confusing. However, they did clarify in the comments down below that they will be retiring all of the multiplication options. So the subscriptions, once they, finish out for the month, you cannot purchase them again. And then as well as the game passes. So I do think that's an important aspect to note here because I do feel like this was honestly just not intentionally, but it just was poorly worded and obviously made some people confused. So just to clarify that, all the multipliers are getting removed. Now they finish by saying, our goal is to make Royale High more fun and fair for everyone. Thank you for growing with us. More details coming soon. Which, I obviously have some opinions on this. Now, I do need to clarify that on Roblox, I did do some research before making this video, obviously, because I don't want to make unsubstantiated claims. But on Roblox, or I guess I'll start like this. Typically, when you purchase a digital product online, a one-time purchase, so in this case, a game pass, typically if you were to purchase that online, like access to, I don't know, a template or just a digital item in general, typically what happens is that you then own that asset. Like, you have a license to use that asset. And typically, game developers or the person selling the asset cannot make changes to that asset without your permission, which is something that has to do with legality, sorry. However, when it comes to Roblox, users do not acquire an enforceable legal right to virtual content, meaning that brands and creators can generally modify a digital product after purchase without the user's explicit permission, which I do need to clarify, that is something in the Roblox terms of service, which basically just means that if you purchase something on Roblox, the game developer does have the legal right to change the item that you purchased after you purchased it without your permission, which personally, in my personal opinion, I think is unethical. That is just my thoughts. Because if I had known they're going to get rid of these diamond multipliers, I would not have just purchased them. That is the truth. Because, no offense, but I'm not looking for a special item. I'm not looking for a badge. Because to me, I don't care. I don't care about those. Those don't really matter to me. What I cared about was making my, time worth more money and basically just optimizing my time when it came to farming in Royale High. And personally, I highly dislike that they're taking out the diamond multipliers just because I purchased them and I did not consent to them being changed, which again, I understand legally Royale High has a right to do this, but in my opinion, it comes across kind of unethical to advertise something to consumers. Consumers purchase it with their hard-earned money and then to later say, oh, by the way, we're getting rid of it, but don't worry, we'll give you this stuff instead. Well, I didn't consent to getting that stuff. I don't want that stuff. Personally, if I can't have the multipliers, I don't want them at all. And I do feel like, obviously, the way they're trying to compensate players, I do feel like is obviously pretty generous. They're giving lots of aspects to players, so I'm not trying to be ungrateful, but personally, those are not of interest to me. I don't want those. And so I think for it to be, I would say the fairest, kind of situation possible would be for Royale High to offer a refund to players who do not want to claim any of these perks. Because at the end of the day, I understand they have to make the game fair. And obviously, there has to be some give and take, and you can't have players, if you're fixing the diamond farming system, you can't have players making an astronomical amounts of diamonds, because then that will just further skew the value system. And so even if you raise the amount of diamonds that their players are getting, items will be worth so much money that people can't afford them regardless. So it just kind of makes this cycle where players cannot afford anything in Royale High. So I understand, the mindset and the reasoning behind taking out the Game Pass. However, personally, my personal belief is I feel like it is kind of not very upfront to be selling game passes and selling them, advertising that they're one thing, and then for a game to just be able to decide, yeah, you know what? No. Actually, no. We're going to take that out. Because personally, I spent money, obviously, purchasing Robux so I could purchase these game passes, and I purchased them like less than a week ago. So you can imagine my surprise when I find out that they're going to be deleted. And personally, I'm not a fan of that. Again, I understand you have to make Royale High a fair environment for everybody. I'm not trying to dog on them for having to make changes to support their economy and to make things fairer for everybody, because I think fairness is really important here. However, where is the fairness for the people who purchase the Game Pass? I understand they're giving these rewards, but personally, I have no interest in these rewards, and I really think they should offer a refund method or something along those lines to players if they don't want these items. Because again, I just feel like it's kind of weird to sell an item and then say, you know what, actually no, that's not what it is anymore, we're getting rid of it. Again, I understand they have all the legal rights to do that within Roblox's terms of service. However, typically when you purchase something online, there is like a general usage where you are allowed to use that item because you've purchased a license to it. I understand that Roblox is different, but just, I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. And again, I understand they're trying to be as fair as possible by adding in all these exclusive perks, and I'm sure some players would be really happy with these, but personally, I want to see the exact perks, the exact diamond amounts and stuff before I would make a decision on whether or not I would want to actually claim them, because I think it's one thing to say that the perks will be amazing and great, but it's another thing to actually show what they're valued at and how much they are actually worth, because in my opinion, I think diamond multipliers are kind of priceless because they are something that you could have used for years to make more diamonds than everybody else. And so again, personally, I'm just not a fan of taking out a game pass that people have purchased and completely changing it and basically just deleting it after I spent money on it. And they mean like, well, don't worry, it's gone, but you get this stuff. Well, I didn't ask for that stuff. I wanted that stuff. I would have purchased that stuff, but I don't. I wanted the multipliers. So regardless, I'm not trying to come across, super picky or like rude. However, I don't know. It feels off to me. It feels very weird. I don't like that I would buy something and then it can just be changed. Again, of course, Royale High does have the legal right to do that. I just don't know. I don't like it. I disagree with it personally. But regardless, there's lots of comments underneath here, and Royale High did announce that they'd be doing an official Q&A for this event, basically just kind of talking about what their plans are and different things. So if you guys do want to go ahead and ask them a question, I'd recommend going to this Twitter thread and asking them a very respectful and well-worded question in the comment section below. They did obviously mention here disrespect equals block. Also, we're planning a Q&A regarding the change, so we'll be picking a few good questions in the comment section. So if you guys have an itching question that you really want to ask them, I'd recommend that you go to the comment section. I would recommend that you go ahead and look at the other comments that are already there, just because there has been some really good questions already asked. So with that in mind, thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Again, I'm not trying to be super picky or rude or anything like that. I'm trying to phrase my stuff very respectfully, but personally, I am highly disappointed to hear they're taking out the multipliers, because as somebody who paid for them, I didn't ask for this other stuff. I wanted the multipliers, so I do think there should be some sort of refund option for players who don't want the different items that they're offering, because I do feel like that would be the fairest way to do it, because they're talking about fairness, and I feel like that would be fair. But regardless, let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!